So, we are live again for the first time in ages. And what I thought I would do today is simply to draw a couple of things. But I'm looking now at my Ink Monster number, which is 1348, which means the next Ink Monster has to be Pesta. So the plague, because the plague came to the Black Death came to Bergen in 1349. So I have to start with that, and after I've done the plague, then I will get you guys to help me decide what to do. I've done the plague a lot of time. Hi, Jotun. Yes, maybe we'll draw Jotun afterwards, but first the plague, because we have to respect the numbers. Hello, everyone. I will try to look at the actually no. Now that I think about it, I will cheat because I would like to draw the plague on a video, and I can't do that right now. So, hey Kim, this is my first stream. Cool, very cool. So what I will do is this is the first time I've done it this way. I will first mark the art with the number 1349, and then I will put that to the side. Please draw a cat. Okay, I can draw a cat. Yeah. And then we will just do some requests today, and we will be starting with number 1350, which will be some sort of a cat. I don't know where I'll see the cat in this one, but some sort of a cat we will find. Can you see a cat here? A cat in a hat. I've heard about that somewhere. Cat in a hat. Seems original. Oh, can I do Hastur, the King in Yellow again? Perhaps. But right now, I need to find a cat in this one. And we got a lot of different cat in the laundromat. And katt i en hatt som skvatt. That's also good. But first, before I find the cat, I need to find a brush that's suitable, because I have a lot of different brushes here, and all of them have their ups and downs, and all of them are pretty messed up. So I need to find the right kind of messed up. Tack måste gå, men dina shorts. Tack. Okay, so let's see if we can find a cat here. So there are a couple of different options for how this can be a cat. It could be some of the shadow on a cat's head, and we could place an eye there and an eye there. Or we could make this into a cat's snout. Or we could do another cat. We could do a monster cat. Shall we do a monster cat? Or just a cute cat? Also loved your Lovecraft related drawings. I love doing Lovecraft. Do you draw Egyptian deities? Yeah, I've done that. Okay, let's draw a monster cat. we'll find one eye here. Ooh. And you'll do a sort of black cat of some sort. I love how messy and worn your workspace is. It's very relatable. It is it is a problem. It is. I'm just as messy as my art. I don't know if this monster cat is going to work. What brand of ink do you use? I use Indian ink from his the one that my local art store sells in liter bottles, and it's also a very good ink, and it's got the right consistency for me. It's not too thick, not too thin. But you know, it's reasonably hard to find bad drawing ink. So you just have to find what you can easily get, and also to find something that suits your preferences, because some prefer thicker ink with a richer black, and some prefer thinner ink that holds in the brush longer, and that's just a preference. I know, you know, it has to do with what you're doing it for as well. So you can work with thinner inks if you're working only for print, because the you know, the finished page, the paper isn't the finished product. But I like a good thick ink, or not too thick, but a good thick black. I mean, feels better to draw with than when it's thinner and becomes a bit more gray. So yeah. Do I like coffee or tea best? I guess this answers your question. Draw Arthur Morgan. I never played through the whole of Red Dead Redemption 2. I loved Red Dead Redemption 1, but I can't draw copyrighted characters because I release all my art for free use. So this piece that I'm drawing now will be scanned, and then it will be uploaded to my gallery, and then the whole world can do with it as you please, as long as you cite me as artist. So you can print it, you can tattoo it, you can even sell it, as long as you cite me as artist, and you can rework it and make your own version of it. That's some of the most exciting things I see, is when someone takes my art and makes their own version. And that simply doesn't work with Arthur Morgan or any other fan art, because I don't have the rights to release that for free use. I can't draw Arthur Morgan and say you can sell that Arthur Morgan. So because I do free art, I can't do fan art, and that is a strictly legal problem. But if you like my free art and want to support that, and you know, want to make sure that I can do more free art, then support on Patreon, support with the super chats, or support by going to denungeherrholm.com and buying t-shirts or originals or whatever. And someone asked, can I have a picture? Yes, you can have all the pictures. You can't have the originals unless you pay, but you can have all the pictures I make for free by going to my gallery and downloading them there. Okay, any questions? Something to talk about while drawing? Could you not take Could you not take that as a commission and not release it for free use? Yes, I could take that as a commission. I do occasionally take commissions and works for or jobs that end up becoming copyrighted material, whether that be an album cover like I did for Abbat or Solstafir, or it is just fan art or a portrait or something like that. I do those things occasionally, but I prefer to do less and less of it because I think art should be free. I think we're seeing the problems of copyright and the idea of intellectual property ownership we're seeing it on YouTube every day. And we're seeing it in how copyright is now being used to hinder expression and to keep people out from earning a living on their art. It's not a system that functions as it should. Are cats in Norwegian myths? Yes, cats are, by any definition, not by any definition, but cats are monsters, especially black cats, but cats are these in folklore, in a lot of different European folklore, cats are these they are in league with the witches and with the devil, and they are also some sort of a psychopomp. They are a messenger from beyond. Could I perhaps draw the Mothman later on? Yeah, I could perhaps do that. I've done one Mothman before. I don't really get the Mothman myth because, what happens? I don't know. It's just some people saw a big shadow. Yeah, so in medieval art, someone said, in medieval art, cats often represent the sins. And that's one reason why they are monstrous. And I got a request here to do an owl bear, and I think I'm looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not a PC player anymore, so I don't. My PC isn't up to snuff. But I'm looking forward to playing it on either PlayStation 5 or my Xbox if it eventually comes there. But owl bears, then I would have to check if that is a name that is from folklore, or if it's one of those that Wizards of the Coast or TSR before that came up with. And I just want to say, just to brag, I recently finished, or before summer, I finished the illustrations for the Kickstarter RPG OSR, or Outcast Silver Raiders, and Isaac, the writer of that RPG, just went to Gen Con in the States, somewhere in the States, and he got so much praise. And I heard he got praise from people like Steve Jackson, who, together with Ian Livingstone, created the fighting fantasy books. And yeah. Okay, so I think we have a good black cat here. Owlbear, it's from Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, so there are some Dungeons and Dragons monsters that are silly enough copyrighted, and it's stupid. But I if I'm going to draw a copyrighted monster like King Kong or Godzilla or a beholder, I have to have a reason. I have to have some sort of angle and do it for a video so that I can do it legally and release it for free use legally. Draw a rooster, yeah. Okay. I don't only draw monsters, so I can draw something. I want that. This cat is clearly a monster, and those monstrous cats. So, can you draw a bunny or a rabbit? Maybe. I'll be looking for an idea that I get a kick out of and that I start seeing an image of, and then I'll draw that. So we'll see. Just hit me with your suggestions. There was a question if I'm into Irish mythology and folklore. Yes, definitely, but it's a very hard subject to research. Is it morning or night for you? It's neither. It is midday, 1 o'clock. Something with a trident, perhaps. Perhaps a bunny with a trident. Let's drink some coffee and could you draw Baldur, the god Baldur? Yes, perhaps. Can you draw Skinwalker? That would be something I would need to research. Thank you for a super chat. Oh, thank you so much, Ezra, for a super chat. And I didn't get to read your whole message because, yeah. Can I draw Dracula? Yes, I can draw Dracula. Godzilla is copyrighted, so I can't draw that. Watching you stream from Sri Lanka. Wow. Excellent. Humanoid, a sea monster or kraken would be cool. We could do kraken. Maybe something that isn't just a monster. Can you draw a castle? Yes. Maybe I'll draw a castle. What do you think about Bob Ross's art? Bob Ross was extremely gifted, and doing what he did was take a lot of skills, and the fluidity with which he made his art, just the flow. It's something I've studied and something I've admired, and his finished pieces isn't for me, but it was never intended for me. Flying castle. Kirkegrimen. That could be Kirkegrimen. They took form as cats quite often. Jacksonville, Florida. Living furniture, like in that Guy de Maupassant story. Okay, I'll let's do a flying castle or something. Or something with color. Oh, many. Yeah, so if I do a flying castle here, it will probably be kinda. It will be kind of loose and very much silhouetted, but let's start. I'll try this one out. We have some yellow. That is nice. We have more yellow than I would have liked. And then we'll go over to some more orangey and let them mix like this. Okay, and then we'll try to blend that over to some grayed out watery blues. That was not as grayed out as I had hoped, so we need to gray it out quite a bit more. Like this. Okay. And then we will mix a tiny bit of ooh, that was way too blue. Like this. And then mix a tiny bit of black into it, but that will be difficult. We just need a tiny bit. We don't need a lot of black. A little bit less, like, yeah. And we'll try to like that. Okay, so our flying castle will be there. And then, but it's against the sunset, so we need to dab this as well. Dab it without killing the color. Just dab the edges here. Dabbity dabbity dab. And we'll do a sort of a mountain or something up here. Are they Ecoline inks that you use, Kim? Yeah. So right now the colors I use mostly right now are Ecoline liquid watercolors. They mix very well together with inks. But they are, generally when I talk about my inks, I don't really care if they are liquid watercolor or fluid acrylic or acrylic ink or Indian ink or any other sort of ink. And now I'm using Indian ink and using it together with, what do I have here? I have some Sennelier colored inks. I have some Ecoline liquid watercolors, and I have some Daler Rowney's acrylic inks, and you can use them all together as long as you respect the which order you mix them in. So you can do inks and acrylic, no, inks and watercolors. You can do them back and forth however you want. But if you go in with any acrylics, you can't do ink on top of that again. So that's sort of the trick. And yeah, so you can work very simply and freely. Hello, was it from hello from Brazil? Yeah, where are everyone located today? We got 60 people watching, which is very good. Austria, Perth. 60 people watching is like perfect, because then I can read most of the comments from Lørenskog. Lørenskog is where my maternal grandparents lived. Bergen, Poland, England, Finland. I just said I could read all the messages, but they come a little bit too fast sometimes. But you know, if the viewership numbers reach 100, then it becomes just chaos trying to read anything. England, Norfolk, Lithuania, America. We're the kids of America. Oh. Watching from Argentina, excellent. Do we have all the continents? We have North America, South America, we have Europe, we have Australia, do you have Asia and Africa? That's, even though I more and more think that saying Europe and Asia is just weird. Because, oh, India, excellent. Because Eurasia is the only thing that makes actual sense as a continent. Because Eurasia, there is no way to define a continent where you have Europe and Asia be separate continents and not, you know, like India be a separate continent, or yeah, you get a lot of different continents if you count Europe, and if you try to make a consistent rule of what is a continent, and you define Europe as a continent of its own, then you just get not millions, but you get many continents. China becomes a continent. Maybe you could try linseed oil paints. I have done oil painting. I want to do more of it. I especially like doing oil painting plein air, like out in nature or in the city, drawing painting landscapes. So I very much enjoy oil paintings, but I don't get to do it as much as I would have thought. Aotearoa is such a cool endonym. Yes. We love your work. Thank you. Did we have... so we have someone from Aotearoa. Do we have someone from anywhere in Africa? Or have I just missed that? Have I made linoblock stamps? Yeah, I've made ages ago, but I'm not really into all those art forms where you work on one thing in order to make another thing. So any types of lithography or block printing or anything like that is difficult for me, because I'm very impatient. Yeah, so separating Europe and Asia is a leftover from from Greco-Roman times, where the divide made more sense, in that it was really hard to cross the Mediterranean or the Black Sea, so that made Turkey sort of a natural border between two parts of the world. But, you know, we don't really use Greco-Roman classifications for much anymore. So why should we use it for continents? Could you draw an anarchist red panda? Ooh, I should. That's a good idea. I like that. Maybe. I should probably get an image of a red panda to do that, because I can't Google or search up images right now because I only have this one phone that I'm using to stream. So that's not going to happen today, I think. But it's a good idea. I like anarchist red pandas. Why an anarchist red panda? I don't know, but it sounded appealing instantly. Your art feels so authentic. Thank you. Can you draw a silly little guy? Yes, I can do that afterwards. Yeah. Watch you for a while. The comments disappear off the screen. You were the uncle of one of my best friends from elementary school. Ooh. Cool. My YouTube picture. Yeah, I can see your YouTube picture, but I still can't. I don't know if I can see. I can try. So here is a landscape, and then we'll try to do a floating castle above that. We'll start with like roots and stuff hanging down. I like that. We'll just start like red pandas are the cutest. Yeah, they are very cute. Loving it so far, Kim. Thank you. There's still a lot of time to ruin everything. There's always time to ruin everything. That's one of the fun parts of doing art like this, where it's all improvised and it's all done in these media that are not eraser friendly. And one of the fun things there is that, you know, everything can be ruined at any point. Now, if you're working on a like oil painting and or especially if you're working like a big, huge planned oil painting, then at some point it's very hard to ruin it. You can, you know, make it better and you can make it worse, but actually ruining it is really hard. And if you do, then you can always fix it. But with these improvised inks, they're always just a few brushstrokes away, even just one brushstroke away from actually ruining it. And once it's ruined, then it's hard to bring it back. Yeah, any advice for starting out with ink? Yes, a lot of advice for starting out with ink. One of them would be to ink has two distinct purposes. You can use it as a finishing tool, like a traditional comic book inker, where you lay down pencils or any other type of sketch first, and then you go over with the inks. And you can use it like I'm using it now, which is as a primary tool. And I would suggest working both techniques at the same time. I would suggest, it's really hard to learn things like anatomy, perspective, and all of the different technical aspects of art is really hard to learn with a permanent medium like inks, because it is very unforgiving. So then you need some sort of medium where you can more easily sketch. And in addition to that, you need to start seeing ink as its own tool. So one of the ways I started doing that, you can do the ink monsters, you can do loads of different ink sketches and stuff like that. But the most useful thing is to draw from life. And I spent years doing landscapes directly with ink from life. And I learned so much from that. And it's very unforgiving, because you just have to watch the landscape you're drawing and figure out, is this completely black? Is this not black? Or is this something in between? And you don't have many values to go with. You have 2.5 value. You have black, white, and this weird thing in between, and that's everything. So that's a very challenging way to learn ink, but it's also a very rewarding way once you start getting it. And I do, and most of the studying for doing inks like I'm doing right now is not done with ink. It's done with pencils. It's done with digital art. It's done with coal, or with crayons, or with any medium that's more forgiving. Because studying the world, studying art, studying everything directly with ink is hard. So you need to learn the basics in another medium. Of course, if you do more towards Japanese and Chinese ink painting, then there are more techniques to learn directly with the ink. So there are ways to just skip other tools, and I have studied a lot of Chinese and Japanese ink paintings, but I would suggest that working at least 70% with a forgiving medium and pencils, and then 30% with the ink is probably good. But it depends on what your goals are, what your affinities are. Not everyone wants to draw the same stuff as I do. Not everyone has the same goals and has to do it the same ways. So that was a really interesting question that came up right now. Someone is doing daily ink monsters, but the more days they miss, the more difficult it is to get back to it. And I can totally relate. And there are a couple of things you sort of need to do to manage any sort of daily challenge. You have to have a challenge that is possible to do daily. So for instance, if you're going to like run for an hour every day, that's going to get difficult because not all days will have an hour, and you will get your body will get exhausted. And so there are people who can run a mile or run a 10K every day, and there's people who have done that, a marathon every day. But that is for more advanced. You have to work up to that somehow. But with something like Daily Ink Monsters, you have to make sure that what you're doing is something you can do incredibly quickly and sloppily the days where nothing works. So, for instance, this one I did recently, and it's not a great piece of art. It's not a very technical piece of art. It was made in probably 2 or 3 minutes, but I did it. And that's the important thing. So you have to do something you can do with minimal effort in less than 5 minutes. Otherwise, it will be really hard to do it daily. And then there's the other aspect, which I often emphasize, is something which I try to use a lot in every aspect of my life. And that is, I like to call it radical self-forgiveness. And that is, whenever you mess up, you just say to yourself, it's okay, I messed up, I forgive myself, let's move on. And that is not the same as, not seeking other people's forgiveness. And if you fuck up, if you mess up with other people, you should seeking their forgiveness is something completely different. But seeking your own forgiveness is really important, and that allows you to move on and do something else. And whenever because for the first many years, or my first 2-3 years of doing Daily Ink Monsters, I didn't skip a single day. But once I started skipping days, I went, okay, that's okay, I forgive myself, let's do it today instead. And that's basically all there is to it. It seems easy, but it's not. Like everything, it's not. I think this one is closing in on finished. Do we have some white? Maybe do some more. Do some windows like this. If you skip a day, you can't go back in time, so might as well accept it. Yeah, so accepting that you will mess up. We all do. And that's important to accept and acknowledge and then just move on. You can't go back and fix it, so just move on and if you can, learn from it. If you can't, then just ignore it. And that's different when you messed up in relation to others. Then you can move on, but you also have to. The more important thing is to allow them to move on. That is completely independent of you moving on. So I'm not saying that that radical self-forgiveness is something you can do in every aspect of life, but in those things relating to yourself, you should, I think. Me thinks. Okay? I think that's a piece of art. Came out okay. Came out good. It looks like, I suddenly realized what I've drawn. It's basically Hyrule Castle lifting off, because in there you find all the good weapons. Because I've been playing way too much Tears of the Kingdom. And Breath of the Wild before that. So we got a request for a silly little guy. Someone requested a silly little guy, and I wanted to draw that. Because that's sort of, now we've spent a lot of time on one piece, or not on one piece, but one piece of art. So let's draw a silly little guy. And how can we make this into a silly little guy? There's countless of ways to make this into a silly little guy, so it's just to decide which silly little guy we want to draw. I don't know if this is smart, but I like the idea of one big eye and one small eye. That's the basis of our silly little guy. Yay for silly little guys in chat. Silly little guy time. Okay, and then we'll, he's obviously looking this way, so we'll give him a silly long nose. Like this. And we will make this into his ear. I originally thought that this was going to be something else. Like this. And the nose is here. You're my favorite artist. Thank you. And inspiring to see some of the same problems. That is, stay strong. It is hard. Looks like he has a beard. He can have a beard. Maybe this is the beard. Yeah. I don't know what. And then, like, now he has a big beard. And then he needs a silly little guy body. So we'll stick the body out here. Wow, what a guy. He is. And basic, just hint at the hand. Too much here. It's a hand. Does that look like a hand? No. Does it convey the point? Yes. And then he will have his legs out to the side, and he will have a little pee-pee, as silly little guys do, like a silhouette pee-pee. And then he will have another going out here, and yeah, like this. And should he have eyeball, or should he have pupils, or should he have nothing in his eyes? We'll go with it looks sillier, I think, with like he's being caught doing something he shouldn't have done. And then he needs to stand on something, like just a line suggesting the ground. And he is a ink monster for some strange reason. I don't know why. I don't know what makes it monstrous, but it clearly is. So that is 1351, and his name is Silly Little Guy. And even though we've signed it, we'll make some ink spatters. I love this silly little guy. Perfect. Couldn't have done it better myself. I did it myself. Like this. And I heart silly little guys. So with that, I think I'm actually done for this live. We've approached almost an hour of drawing. We did a flying castle. We did something more. We did a black cat, and I need to draw Pesta later today and film it. I think this is good, and all of these pieces will be up for free use once they're scanned, so you can download them, you can print them, you can tattoo them. Who doesn't want a silly little guy tattoo? And you can even sell them if that's what you want. If you think that's cool, then please do support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Kim Holm, or support with a super chat. We'll probably try to get some way of doing support directly on YouTube as well. But someone said it has some Watterson vibes. Bill Watterson was definitely a early influence. I absolutely adore Calvin and Hobbes. So yeah, thank you all for joining this live. I've had a lot of fun. I should try to do more. No, let's use a more precise language. I am going to do more lives this, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.